Real estate investors ask me all the time about Series LLCs, which I find are underutilized by many real estate investors. And when I'm explaining how a Series LLC works, I like to write it out, draw it out for them. So we're used to having an LLC in which we isolate liability related to this LLC. And if we're a real estate investor, we're probably used to creating special purpose entities for each real estate investment. In other words, we buy a property, we create an LLC, and then we put the property in that LLC. And then we have a separate one for each one of our properties. Now, this can get burdensome when we have multiple properties. It can also get a little expensive because there's a filing fee each time. So one of the things that we can do is create a Series LLC to streamline the process. So instead of an LLC, we're going to have a Series LLC. And that's created by filing the certificate of formation, including some magical language in the certificate of formation that makes it a Series LLC. So we file that certificate of formation, and then we have to have an, a company agreement that is specifically designed for Series LLCs. It's not going to be a normal company agreement. It's going to be specially designed. So this Series LLC is going to have a company agreement. And I like to think of this one as like the mothership. And this company agreement is going to govern each of the separate series. So what you'll do is contractually create, and these are bulls, all three different series on this one. We can have series 2, series 3, and each of these are going to be created a separate series agreement. The separate series agreement is a one-pager that governs just this series, just this series, just this series. So the series can, for instance, be member managed. This one could be manager managed. Maybe this one has 2 members. Maybe this one has 4 members. This one has 1 member. So you can dice it in different ways. But this company agreement, the company agreement for the parent, for the mother, is going to govern all the general terms, which is, I like being a real estate investor myself, because if you created a special purpose entity for each one of these, you would have to separately, or you may, if you bring in other investors, separately negotiate each company agreement. For this one, I present it, I present it typically like a take it or leave it. I have a Series LLC. Here's the governing document. We can make any tweaks in here. And then I'll make tweaks, but I don't really make substantial tweaks. And that way I can make sure that I save on legal costs every time moving forward. And I can control generally the framework of my real estate investment. So you create Series 1 contractually. You don't have to file it with the Secretary of State. You don't have to pay a filing fee. Series 2 contractually, Series 3 contractually. So just like your special purpose vehicle, you're isolating risk within this vertical. So all the risk in 1, it sticks with 1. All the risk 2 sticks with 2. All the risk with 3 sticks with 3. So the Series LLC operates very much in that sense, like having a bunch of separate LLCs. You don't have to file them separately with the Secretary of State, but the law does treat them as separate entities. Now, just like having other separate entities, you have to have separate bank accounts, you have to have separate books, you have to treat these things separately. You can't commingle the funds all with the other series. And banks do recognize the separate series. They'll open a bank account in the name of the separate series. When you go to close on a property, you will typically enter into a contract in the name of the series and then quickly assign it to the separate series. Or better yet, you might even just enter into the contract in the name of the separate series, close in that name of that separate series. The deed is going to be in the name of the separate series. This is another reason I love the Series LLC, is it's really fast to create a new entity. You don't have to go and Secretary of State or talk to your lawyer, pay a fee, wait a couple days. You literally can pull up the separate series agreement, which is like a one-page template, enter in the information that you want, sign it privately, done. You've now created an entity that you can use for flipping a home, for investing in a property, whatever it is. So it's a really great tool. It's somewhat nuanced. It's definitely something you want to use a real estate attorney for, and a real estate attorney that's done separate series for other real estate investors. But I really like it for a lot of real estate investors, not all of them. If you're just like a one and done real estate investor, if you just have one or two properties, I'm not going to recommend this. But if you're going to have multiple properties, it's a good investment to make to set this framework up properly so your real estate operations can be more efficient in the future.